How's it going, everyone? We're back again. This is the same day as I shot the last video. I just got so much time, I wanted to just shoot this again. If I got to redo it, fine, but if not, then we got this video right now. And the video is, I want to just give some thoughts on this R1. It's a 2007. Just wanted to give a bit of an overview. Obviously, I don't have all my gear to do a bunch of B-roll or drone shots and none of that stuff, so I can't call it a full review, but let's call it an overview, I suppose. I've had it for about a month and a half now. The bike's got 42K on it, I think. Let me check that. 42.5K on it. And I've put maybe, what, 5 or 6K on it so far? Yeah, sorry, I was just paying attention. Yeah, 5 or 6K. So a good bit of time. I've done a bunch of highway, done some cruising around, some, I guess, more canyon type roads. We don't have canyons, but that kind of an idea. Spirited driving on some twisty roads. So where am I going to start to? I'm going to start with why I love it, I suppose. I didn't think I was going to like a sport bike. Well, I was interested in a sport bike, but I wasn't sure if I was going to love it. I've been riding dirt my whole life, and I kind of cut my teeth on like an old sport bike, an old CB 750, which was nice. That was fun. It wasn't too fast, but the motor had a lot of character. It felt cool to rev it out. It looked pretty cool. I liked how it looked anyways. And then I moved up to a KLR, which I still own. So I still got the KLR because I'm going to use it as an adventure bike. Obviously it's what it's for. It's not that fun in the street, and I got this because I found myself riding in the street a lot. I like doing this. I like coming out and you know, cruising around Seal Cove, cruising around town, you know, some local spots like that, all of our local touristy areas, like going to get some french fries on it. You know, I just like riding in the street, and I didn't find myself actually dual purposing a lot, so I kind of had to get something. I got this for a screaming deal off a fella, so kind of do a friend of a friend deal. So here we are, and why I love it, getting back to it, I'm trying not to ramble, I'm sorry, is, yeah, I love the character of the motor. It feels like, I shouldn't say the motor, the character of the whole bike, but the motor really is the star. It's, and pay attention here for 2 seconds. Yeah, so the character of the bike is full race. To me, it really is full race. Everyone always talks about how things feel racy, sports car feel like a race car. I've always, like, you know, I've not subscribed to that. You know, I wouldn't say, like, people would say STI would be the race model of a Subaru. Not really. It doesn't feel like a race car at all, not even close. But when you ride a competition dirt bike, I've always felt that's full race, you know what I mean? Because it really is. The motor's solidly mounted. There's no vibration dampening. There's nothing. There's no, everything's weight savings. You know, there's no amenities, no rubber bushings to keep everything nice. Although the handlebars have rubber bush, if you want to be technical, but but you know, it's a full race machine, and I'm surprised to get my first thoughts on this when I got on was, oh my god, this is a dirt bike for the street, and that's exactly what it feels like. It still does feel like that. I still agree with that. The suspension, obviously, completely different animal. It's stiff, and it's low travel, but it's feels very performance oriented. You know what I mean? This is an old bike too. I'm sure the new ones are even insane with all their electronics, fancy stuff. This bike has no electronics at all. No, like, driver rated electronics, I should say. It got like engine electronics, and it's got some kind of, it's got an intake, electronic intake and exhaust. So not gonna get into all that. You guys can research that if you're interested in one of these, if you're watching this video for that reason. So it's a lot of fun, just because of how racy it feels. The motor's got a great character. It makes power. I haven't ridden a whole lot of other ones. Everyone's always talking about torque with 1000s and how engines feel and their power characteristics. All rockets to me feel like they got a really peaky power characteristic, because they do, you know, relative to other things. Like my KX 450 dirt bike, it feels like it makes as much power off idle as it does at the top, you know, more or less. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm saying. It'll stand up from a lug, you know what I mean? The bike will stand right on its back wheel, 5th gear from a lug, just like it will in, you know, first and high RPM. It's crazy. And these obviously feel peaky. So above 10 it screams its head off. Probably above 8 it starts to scream. And I believe the electronic intake starts to move around 10, so it really kind of picks up some noise and it sounds a bit raspy. And it all just adds to this race experience. It's an experience. That's the exact word. Every time you get on it, it feels like an experience, and it's a blast to ride. It's a blast to cruise around traffic in. But what's most impressive to me, maybe when I first got on it, my first impressions, I should say, would be how it's racy, but it's smooth. It's refined. The engine doesn't vibrate like crazy, although your GoPro might be vibrating a little bit there because this aftermarket windshield is a bit loose, so don't call my bluff on it. It really does feel smooth when you're riding it. The engine doesn't buck and slop around really bad at traffic. The gearbox feels great. It feels direct. It feels I guess almost notchy. People think notchy is a bad word, but you get a great feedback through your foot. You can really feel the shifter. So even in terms of NVH, it's pretty good. You know what I mean? Like it's a race bike, but it's refined. It's shocking that the engine can make what, 160 horsepower, whatever it makes. In fact, I can't actually remember the numbers. 158, I think it is. It's shocked that it can make big power like that and then still do this. I'm cruising in traffic. You know what I mean? This bike is easier to drive in traffic than my KLR. That was another first impression I had. Like, wow, this bike is balanced awesome. It sits in traffic well. All right, so forgive me if I'm a little distracted, but things are kind of going to get a little bit busy here. I'm in a busy area of town, and it's either this or the highway, and I'm worried about the audio on the highway, so I'm going to do this for now. So for brakes, the brakes are crazy. They stop the bike as good as you could hope. It'll like roll right over on itself. It'll go right up on the front wheel if you wanted to once the tires are warm. The brake feel is not that good. It's kind of spongy the whole way. You kind of just lean into the handle more, and you get more braking power, but it doesn't really get that nice solid feel, and that's because it's got rubber lines on it from factory. I'm sure there's a bunch of stainless steel braided lines kits you can get, and that would definitely make a massive difference. That would be awesome. Back brakes also suck. You got no feel. So I gotta open this up. Getting a little bit of fog here, but the back brakes are horrible. Of course, everyone talks about you don't need back brakes in these. You know, I'm exaggerating again there, but I like the back brake. I've also had some fun sliding it around. Not really backing it in because you can't really do that on the street unless you're a madman. But just sliding it around, enjoying getting the rear light and feeling the back wheel move. And yeah, you gotta lean into them, and there's no feel through your foot. I mean, my dirt bike has more feel for back brakes and for front brakes. These are definitely worse than my KX for brake feel. But the brakes are great. So I mean, what can you do? I do want to put new pads on it. These pads are probably what, 40% life maybe left. So they're kind of getting down there, and it's going to need to be replaced. I'm not sure what the options are for these compared to cars for high performance biting pads. I'm sure there's something, but you know, that's something to look into. So I guess next, what else are we going to do? Suspension, like I kind of mentioned, it's firm, but it's good. I don't really have a whole lot of relative experience to these with modern sport bikes. I rode my buddy's CBR and my buddy's Ducati, so that's kind of all I got to reference it to. But it's stiff. I mean, it'll beat you up in the street. You kind of obviously I'm a dirt rider, like I already mentioned that to you guys. So I've been standing up on it a lot over bumps, and it's a lot of fun. But it actually jumps well. Like if you're riding a dirt bike, you can bump off curbs. You can bump it off little rocks and humps in the road, and it'll jump. If you ride this like that dirt bike, it will do it, which has been a lot of fun. That's something I've been impressed by. It's you know you're behaving badly and kind of abusing the bike when you're doing it, but it's a lot of fun, and it does it well. Like when you land, it doesn't bottom out, like nowhere near. It's completely confident suspension. I did some Googling, and apparently the suspensions are good in this year. People like this year's suspension, 07, 08, because this bike is a good bit different than the rest. So I don't know. I can't give you more reference on it, but I'm happy with the suspension. It doesn't dive under braking, nothing like that. It's no complaints from me. No complaints. And really, I guess that's it, isn't it? That's kind of the whole overview. That's, you know, we did engine, brakes, suspension. What else is it other than that? I think it looks pretty good. The previous owner powder coated the wheels and did some blingy stuff. You can see I got these levers here, the gold levers. They're a bit blingy. I'm probably gonna take a lot of that stuff off. He also painted the foot pegs and stuff. They're all gold, so yeah, it's a bit blinged out right now. It's whatever. Other people seem to like it, but it's a bit too much for my taste. Yeah, all right, we'll leave it there. I'll talk to you guys next time. I appreciate you watching. See ya.